Hanzo from Team Praxis getting an early kill, making this a good push for Team Praxis. They have to move forward onto the point if they want to cap a single point, but Taijidu making Great Leap fall this early does put Team Praxis at a disadvantage. The ultimates on the side of Team Praxis are coming out now, with the Sigma ult being immediately stunned. Sarkweek does have the transformation ready. Malorad getting dangerously close to falling. Malorad will fall, but Sarkweek from downtown will eliminate Nick, with Andromedus eliminating the Sigma on the side of Team Praxis as well. The transformation may come out here just in an attempt to stall, but Sarkweek may not even need it as he eliminates the Orisa on the side of Team Praxis as well. The Hanzo still holding onto those dragons, and Sarkweek with the transformation, both teams really only having one damage ult, but the beat on the side of Team Praxis is almost ready. Great Leap here with some fantastic angles, just trying to get some damage, see possible if he can get a pick. The Bob from Team Rampage is only 40% away from being pulled out, and the Gravitic Flux from Andromedus again as well. Although due to technical difficulties, we did miss an incredible double Gravitic Flux from Andromedus at the beginning of this game. The beat comes out early from Team Praxis, trying to get the point, trying to establish their dominance very early, but Taijidu getting, again, another very early pick is going to make this difficult for Team Praxis. No kills come through on the Gravitic Flux, but one does come right at the end. With Team Praxis just absolutely being ripped to shreds here, it looks like the game will already be over with no ticks coming from Team Praxis. Team Rampage will now have their turn to perform and see if they can cap first point. Because this is a scrimmage, even if they cap first 33% of the point, we will continue to move forward, and they will continue to practice and do their best to complete the map. It is currently 0-0, as this is the first map. The technical difficulty did only cut out about the first 8 minutes. Looks like the map will be restarted here, again on Volskya Industries, but this time the Rampage will be on offense and Team Praxis will be on defense. A lot of things were cut out of that, as mentioned, but Andromedus with the Gravitic Flux absolutely just carried two separate fights in Taijidu, getting an early pick on one person in 2 fights in a row, making it an immediate 5v6. Even the beat from the Lucio on Team Praxis couldn't save them at that point. The tanks from Team Rampage really showing a large skill gap between the tanks between them and the tanks on Team Praxis. Team Praxis really did come to life there toward the end of that fight, but simply did not have enough time as Great Leap had been eliminated so early on. The Zenyatta Baptiste pick coming from the defending team, probably looking to really bunker down and try to stall for as long as possible, but with as much damage coming out of the Rampage as we see here, both an Echo and an Ashe, even a Baptiste and a Sigma, the amount of damage here, either close up or far away, really is astronomically larger than a Hanzo and an Ashe. The Echo making the biggest difference here, as she can melt almost any squishy in the game before they can even react to what's happening around them. On the attacking side, the Brigida, or we have Malorad on Brigida. The Brigida really is going to become a small tank for this team. As without a Reinhardt, they'll need a small shield to move forward, and Malorad can just hold that left click or get an important shield bash and give his team the window to move forward. Team Rampage will move in here. Mammoth Gamer charging up that ultimate fire at Sarkweek, already high in the sky, looking to get some kills. He will fall to be low with his team. 3% on the ultimate. There is a slight advantage on the side of Team Praxis, as the Ashe is already 20%. Sarkweek does pressure the Ashe on the side of Team Praxis, but will not be able to confirm the kill. Already back to full health. The ult need to be coming out here from Team Rampage. They really need to be farming these as fast as possible. Sarkweek putting a lot of pressure here on the back line, but not hitting any of these crucial shots to get these kills. The laser has been wasted. The Ashe is less than 100 health, and if someone can just get up there and force the Praxis to move forward onto the point, things could turn on. Andromedus with the Sigma flank, putting a lot of pressure on their back line, just moving forward. Even though he's walking himself into a 1v6, he's going to continuously, relentlessly try to get these kills, as most of the enemy team is still focused on his team across the map. Taijidu falls, but as does the Kraken. Things are not looking good here as Andromedus picks up another kill on the Praxis. In the back line, he's just ripping them apart. The lamp has come out, but already being down 2, it probably will not be enough. With 2 more falling from the Praxis, the Team Rampage will clean up this first point in a little over a minute. That was a completely clean push with no ultimates, as none of them farmed their ultimates fast enough to be used. Team Praxis will have to retreat to the second point, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Zenyatta swap here on something with maybe a little bit more healing, even possibly a Brigida. Maybe not more healing, but a little more consistency and a group heal rather than a single heal. Sarkweek eliminating the Hanzo on the side of Team Praxis very, very early, making this a very quick 5v6. Sarkweek does have that transformation, and if he can pull it out, which it looks like he will, we may see a very big performance here from Sarkweek. The ultimate's already here, picking up, look, it looks like possibly just as, no, the Baptiste as well. The Baptiste will be eliminated, as will the Orisa. Sarkweek just cleaning up the enemy team with a single transformation. Playing the Sigma was all he needed to clean up half of the team on his own. 70% to another one, but he will not get it in time. Sarkweek continuously putting just relentless pressure onto Team Praxis with yet another pickup. With 5 minutes on the clock, Team Rampage may have already cleaned up this map, the Rampage absolutely went on a rampage, and the ultimates are going to come pouring out from Team Praxis to hold on to this point, but they will not be able to do so. The ball is on the side of Team Praxis, but it has already fallen to Bob, and with a little under 5 minutes on the clock, it looks like Team Rampage are just about ready to put a bow on this and wrap it up. The Bob comes out, but nothing matters as the map is already over, and it looks like the Rampage have already won that. With over 4 minutes on the clock, Rampage really just walked most of that fight. They really cleaned up with such early falls from Team Praxis over and over again that Rampage just had so many opportunities to get that easy win. Sarkweek absolutely being the MVP of that fight, using every single cooldown and every single ultimate to his advantage to really make sure that he can move forward into the enemy team and get as many kills as possible without really risking and putting his own neck out there. Playing Echo, you have almost those 2 health bars. When you're taken out of your ultimate, you can then just fly away as Echo and hope that you don't get sniped out of the air. Sarkweek really showing an over-aggression there, but it really paid off as Andromedus was usually right behind him picking up 1 or 2 kills. I think the biggest issue from Team Praxis there was the Zenyatta. The Zenyatta just did not offer the healing necessary for such a damage-heavy team on the side of the Rampage. Even when Team Praxis was given that opportunity to swap, they decided to stick with that Zenyatta, which may have been good if the Zenyatta could get that damage out, but every time he poked his head out, he was already eliminated. We saw a lot of grouping and coordination from the Rampage that I feel we haven't seen in a long time in an attack like that. The defense from the Rampage always being phenomenal and relentless, but the attacks in the last couple of games have been a little bit sloppy, but here we've seen a massive growth. The tanks really barely got their time to shine other than Andromedus just nailing those, I believe, 2 shots at the beginning of that team fight when he flanked all the way around on Sigma, by the way. An absolutely incredible flank. It looks like we are probably sitting through lots of coaching, lots of discussion from both teams. Even if Team Rampage did win that fight, there is always room to improve in this game. There's always room to become better. The biggest difference between the 2 teams there, I believe, was the ability to group and the ability to peel. While Team Praxis was really grouped up very well on that defensive point, as soon as that Sigma went into the back line, there was almost no peel towards attacking him. So Andromedus got so much free ground over the rest of the team because the enemy team was so focused on people so far away. While the Ashe and the Zenyatta may have been focused on Andromedus, the other 4 heroes on Team Praxis were focused on the rest of the team. If Team Praxis was able to peel back and kill Andromedus early in that fight, they may have been able to stall the entire thing. Looks like a new player may be joining on the side of Team Praxis. There were a little bit of technical difficulties early on, but it looks like the player may be returning. Draco will end up on the side of Team Praxis if he is subbed in. Another really standout player of that last map would absolutely be Taijidu on that Baptiste. Taijidu very often playing Ana, as we see that Baptiste swap with fantastic placement of the immortality fields and just incredible aim, getting an early pick on the damage heroes time and time again. It was absolutely relentless in regards to getting these picks and not letting the enemy team really have any wiggle room whatsoever. Malorad on the Brigitte is always a fantastic pick as well, because Malorad can usually just hold down that left click and push forward with his tanks, but even when Malorad's running on his own and performing on his own, he still is absolutely relentless in making sure the enemy team cannot take out the Brigitte without a serious fight. The biggest difference between a bigger difference between these 2 teams individually would most likely be the main tank difference here, just possibly the tank difference as a whole, with the tanks from the Rampage being absolutely relentless and aggressive and constantly holding down that W key, while Team Praxis' tanks played a little more defensive, which may have possibly cost them that first map, playing so bunkered down in that small area, not really watching all their flanks. The next map will be announced very soon, and I'm not completely sure, but it could possibly be a payload map, an escort map, but I'm sure we will find out very soon. Another player returning. It looks like Team Praxis may be having a lot of technical difficulties, but that is okay. With the swaps finally ready, we may be able to begin our second map. A new player being subbed in. The second map will be Control Point Lijang Tower. With ping issues hopefully out of the way, we may be able to move forward onto Lijang Tower, which is a very comfortable map for the Rampage. Win or lose, those maps are always incredibly close. As mentioned, the Rampage are just so unbelievably relentless in their aggression and their attacks that it's usually very difficult to break such an aggressive team. Already up 1 point, we may see a little bit of team swapping, comp swapping from the Rampage if they want to have this opportunity to practice something else on Lijang Tower. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Andromeda's bust out the Wrecking Balls we're very familiar with. Any map where there is a good knockoff or a Death Pit, Andromeda's usually seems to be playing that Wrecking Ball. Taijidu on the Baptiste, we may not see again, but we may see the Ana, as Taijidu is very familiar. Malorad usually sticking to that Brigida, which is also a very good choice. The game is finally starting nearly 8 minutes later, but that is A-okay as Lijang Tower is finally underway. Our first map is going to be Lijang Tower. I cannot recall the name of this map off the top of my head. It's not Control Point and it's not Gardens, but I can't think of what it is. Night Market will be the name of this map. Orion Zarya most likely coming out of both teams here, but a possible Winston D.Va if a team really wants to get aggressive and push very far into the enemy team. Derpy is still being in over minions, though, makes me think that we may see a Reinhardt, as minions is a very good Winston, and he himself usually acknowledges the existence of a very good Winston play or strategy. An Orisa Sigma with an Orisa Ryan on the side of Team Praxis. So the Sigma ball, but it seems Derpy is on the Wrecking Ball for the time being. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that be swapped, but I have seen Derpy in action before on that Wrecking Ball, and he is truly quite good. We've got the Symmetra Mei, which most likely means Team Praxis is going to attempt to teleport onto the point. But with the Symmetra from the Rampage as well, they may use this teleporter right out of spawn just to get there a couple of seconds earlier. But if Team Praxis uses that teleporter to get up into the top window, then they will get to the point before Team Rampage. It looks like the teleporter will come out early, but Sarkweek appears to be changing back onto the Echo, something that we have seen many times and we will see many times again. The Mei going to be a big issue, but without a Reinhardt on the side of the Rampage, the Mei not be getting as much value as Team Praxis may be hoping for. The Kraken, the Reinhardt from Team Praxis, already off to the side on his own with a very early pause, possibly the Kraken having some ping issues here. They did, however, Team Praxis did, however, teleport onto the main point and, as predicted, move forward and try to capture that point as quickly as possible. The Rampage will now have to rotate around to meet Team Praxis rather than both teams fighting in the middle before contacting the point. The Kraken being incredibly out of place here, we can see off to the right side. I'm not sure if he's going to go for a lucky charge or a large flame strike, but without that main tank, or the other main tank, it was in fact a disconnect. As discussing him, he has vanished. A new player will most likely be subbed in for Team Praxis as the game will have to go on. Taijidu, as he is there proving my theory wrong, is remaining on that Baptiste, but on a map like this one with so many small corridors roughly the size of that Baptiste ultimate, that ult really can make or break a fight for the Rampage. The ultimate being so strong within itself that the Rampage may possibly be even able to win a fight with only that ultimate. When somebody returns to Team Praxis, they will most likely stick to that double shield comp, but I would not be surprised if we saw a Sigma swap over the Reinhardt, as with a double shield, it's very difficult for Reinhardt to land those really important shatters to win team fights. The healer difference between the teams very unique as we see a Moira Lucio versus a Brigida Baptiste, as the Brigida Baptiste may, in a brawly comp, be better. As so if the Rampage can move forward and really get aggressive in the face of Team Praxis, then they will work out nicely. But with Draco on that Lucio, they'll have to watch their flanks and watch each side to make sure they don't get booped off the map. Or with the Moira, they'll have to watch from long distance fights. That Moira can afford to get a lot of healing, and a single good damage orb can get Moira up to 20% of her ultimate. Already 25% in the lead on ultimates. The Moira is going to pop that Coalescence very soon, as Coalescence is essentially a glorified cooldown. Sarkweek is going to get a lot of free ground here. They have a Symmetra and a Mei, so as long as Sarkweek watches out for those turrets, we will see a lot of good damage from the sky, as he really does not have that much of a counter. Maybe the Moira if he gets too close. We appear to be restarting the map entirely, and we are returning instead to Lijang Gardens. The Rampage are still up 1-0, and apparently that match is null and void, but we will end up playing all three maps, as this is, again, a scrimmage, and that is something that we will have to do continuously. So completely disregarding everything that I just said during that pause time, we will move on completely to a new map and look for different team comps. Probably the Ball here, as we know Andromeda is a really big fan of that Wrecking Ball. Probably the Ball Sigma from the side of the Rampage. No, the Winston ball. I was close, but a little bit off. Mui on the Sombra, something we're not very familiar with, but we have seen a couple of times. The healers, again, being slightly different, with the Rampage favoring an Ana over the Zenyatta. Fragyata playing the Zen is an interesting choice. No, he will, in fact, swap to the Baptiste, because with that Zenyatta, if you're not getting the damage, you should be playing a different healer. We do see the new buttons in action. When you press them, the ball does respawn. Malorad not going to make that basket with the Brigida whip. Oof, he whip shot to the table and the ball does not move for some reason. Andromedus appears to be moving in very early, most likely going for those quick boop kills. He flanks around onto the point already. We do see the Team Praxis rotating around off the bridge to ensure they don't get booped. Andromedus appears to be flanking into their backline. Mui waiting very patiently on point. While the Rampage may appear to be very spread out, they are in fact playing an incredibly patient game, just looking for good opportunities to get some damage in and possibly some knockoffs from the Wrecking Ball as well. Mui falling very early to the Orisa from Team Praxis. This is going to be a difficult fight for Team Rampage to turn around. With 2 falling to the Orisa already, the Rampage will either have to die or get out of this fight, as they are now down half of their team. Malorad probably not going to make it out of this alive. Yeah, less than 50 health stuck out there. It looks like Malorad will be cleaned up as well. A lot of ult charge here for Team Praxis over Team Rampage. If Team Rampage can get in, with the dive comp, they're really going to need to just bust down that front door very quickly, because if they sit around and wait a little bit longer, Team Praxis gets much more value. Nick making sure to check for that Mui. He does spray around trying to get that Sombra out of invisibility. How he knew the Sombra was even close, I'm not sure. Just incredible spray, incredible checking. Mui does come out of invisibility trying to hack anyone. He does land the hack on the Echo from Team Praxis, but the Baptiste is there to make sure the Echo will not be picked without a fight. Less than halfway to that EMP. Mui's really going to have to start doing some more damage here to make this Sombra pick worth it, as she does such little damage, but her EMP is so powerful. Mui now 60%. All he has to do is empty these clips time and time again. After being bombed from the Echo on the side of Praxis, Mui translocates out to ensure that he does not get caught by those. He puts a lot of pressure down, farming that EMP, almost as if he heard me talking. He farms that EMP 20%, 30% faster. Oh, the Flame Strike from Yuxel takes Mui out before the health pack is able to respawn. Yuxel now has that Earth Shatter and is ready for the Rampage to push in any direction. Team Praxis really showing their true colors here, performing a lot better than they had on that 2CP map, but with these control points, Team Praxis appears to be much more comfortable. The Earth Shatter is coming out with the Bongo not far behind. Sarkweek's transformation, where he will most likely turn into the Reinhardt, will come out very soon. The Nano Boost coming out as well with the EMP. All they need to land here is a good EMP, and if Sarkweek can turn into that Reinhardt, it will clean them up even better. Yuxel just holding onto this Shatter, waiting for the Rampage. Most likely going to come out any second now, as they only have that bubble. All caught in this little corridor. Yuxel may use it, but the hack makes the Shatter unusable. Derpy's still falling. Yuxel doesn't need to be unhacked to swing that hammer like a madman. The Shatter not coming out quite yet, with the transformation from Sarkweek also being eliminated by Yuxel. Just swinging his hammer has been enough. Taijutsu takes out the Tracer, but it will not be enough as Yuxel lands the double hammer, and the rest of the team are simply cleaned up. The Echo from Team Praxis still has that transformation. Derpy has the Primal Rage, but down less than 50 health, will fall as well. Team Yuxel taking that first map absolutely relentlessly, giving the Rampage no room to move with that dive comp. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Rampage move back onto Orion Zarya. As we have seen, they can absolutely sweep with a team comp such as that one. So with the map score being 1-0, Team Praxis being up on the map, if Team Rampage can win, they won't give up this map yet. Tracer May, the current comp. Oh, there's the Reinhardt as predicted, and the Zarya. Rein Zarya on this map is going to be very good, as the Zarya has a lot of free space and small corridors to really do a lot of damage. The May Reaper, a very familiar comp versus a Tracer Echo. Sarkweek being off the Echo, a very unusual sight these days, but Sarkweek is going to show his worth on that May, as we have seen the May is a very, very good pick for many small maps. The Ashe swap from the Team Praxis will get them a 7th player, being Bob, as Ashe is just a walking cooldown. Nothing against the heroes playing her, she just does not have a good kit other than her ultimate. Yuxel hitting a very important Flame Strike very early on, 33% to his ultimate. Derpy also 33%, but getting, or excuse me, 25%, but getting very aggressive. Yuxel almost already to that Shatter, swinging his hammer over and over. Now it's a guessing game of who can land a hit first, who can land a kill first. Only 2 swings off. The Immortality Field has to come out very early to keep the Reinhardt alive. The Shatter only 1 swing off of being here. The pin will land on Andromedus, taking him out of the fight very early on. The Shatter already ready. Malorad does take out the Tracer, making this a 5v5. The Shatter coming out, but the Reinhardt being frozen. Derpy may still fall as he's fallen less than 150 health. He will in fact fall with the Shatter. The beat coming out from Malorad. Only 12% of the map, incredibly fast, and he has that. Yuxel does fall, taking Reinhardt completely out of the map. Taijidu falling as well. But Mui with an absolutely massive Death Blossom, getting a quadruple on his own, cleaning up a lost team fight. Derpy getting the hold on to that Shatter, and the Rampage getting the hold on to these ultimates much longer than they were hoping to. The Blizzard is ready as well. I would not be surprised if we saw Sarkwick wall off that main entrance and throw the Blizzard right on top of it. Andromeda's only halfway to a grab as he was taken out of that last fight very, very early. Bob does come out, the walking ultimate as predicted, and makes it a little bit farther than I think the Rampage were expecting. 2 falling on the side of the Rampage already, but they are already halfway to capping this point. The Blizzard comes out from Sarkwick, and it looks like it will not be enough, as a single kill on the side of the Rampage is all we can see as they fall one by one, and Team Praxis will flip this point into their favor for the first time. The pulse bomb from Nick, I would not be surprised if we saw him flank around to the edge and try to land a very cheeky pulse bomb. A lot more ultimates coming out of Team Praxis here than Team Rampage, as Andromeda's only 60% on that ultimate, and the Graviton is so absolutely crucial to winning a team fight with a Reinhardt. Mui putting a lot of pressure on the Tracer in the back line. Draco holding down that left click. The Brigitte just trying to get that value, but is it going to be enough? Andromeda still has got so little percent. Derpy falling so early. A massive 3-man Shatter coming from the Reinhardt. They will struggle to move forward here. 35% on the map. They had to commit only 2 ultimates as the Bongo went down as well. Oh my goodness, the rally was used as well. I missed the rally entirely. 3 ultimates committed to winning that fight puts them behind in the ult charge here. The Rampage once again having that ultimate advantage, and we know when the Rampage have any advantage, you give them an inch and they will run a mile. 50% to another Death Blossom. Mui just has to farm this to land and clean up the team. Andromeda's only 20% off that ultimate if he can land it. Draco falling early, but as does Sarkwick, making this a 5v5 in the favor of the Rampage as another damage falls, as does the main tank. The Rampage are simply going to clean up who's left. Fragyata shooting his BB gun, but it's not going to be enough. He's on his own. He will be cleaned up by Mui, and the Rampage will flip this point back into their favor. But if Team Praxis can flip this back, they'll only have one good fight to really hold on to this map before they can take the win. Mui only 9% off. The Reinhardt from Team Praxis charging in way too far on his own. Not able to confirm any kills before being eliminated, and adding a free 10% to the map for Team Rampage. To the point, excuse me. We hear the charge again. Will he make the same mistake twice? No, he will stop himself much earlier. The Death Blossom is ready to come up, as is the Blizzard. We will see the Wall Blizzard. No, the Graviton Surge finally comes out from Andromedas. The lamp may be bigger, with Malorad dropping the beat for little to no reason. We do see a back cap, most likely the Tracer. Yes, she hangs out on point on her own, shooting those little pellet guns, but as both supports move back, not a great call for the Rampage, as they no longer have supports in those front lines. The Blizzard has come out from Sarkwick, the Reinhardt being cleaned up by Mui once again. That Death Blossom not even having to be used as the Blizzard was simply enough. We are now in overtime as that Tracer is still on the point and has not been eliminated. The entire team has to move back to deal with her as the Brigitte and May come in to help her as well. It is now a 3v5 on the point, but it looks like the Rampage will be returning to their homeland. Sarkwick falling very early. Will the Death Blossom be able to clean it up? Taijidu does eliminate Draco here. It's getting very close as it's overtime for the Rampage, with 2 falling on the side of Team Praxis. Oh, with an incredible Shatter from Derpy, cleaning up 3. The Flame Strike taking out 2. Derpy does secure that first map for Team Rampage, and it looks like we will be taking this to a legitimate map 3. The Rampage and Team Praxis really coming to life here. Everyone really showing their colors here, as Team Praxis, when they had that point, were relentless in not letting it go. An incredible Shatter coming out from Yuxel a couple of times, with Derpy cleaning up an amazing Shatter as well. We're going to swap probably to the exact same comps as we saw on this map the first time this map came around. The Symmetra coming from Team Praxis, we're not surprised by that. The May, we're not surprised as well. Mui on the Ashe, however, that is the surprising pick. The Bap Brig, a very comfortable and confident team comp coming out of the Rampage. We've seen them roll with that comp time and time again. Malorad also being comfortable on that Lucio. The gates will open. And Team Praxis, there's a 99% chance they're going to go for that window TP and try to establish that point presence early. As predicted, they will do that one at a time. All 6 of them will drop onto this point. Orisa will most likely drop the bubble. Symmetra trying to make sure they cannot get onto this point. Already 15% to her ultimate, which isn't exactly saying much, as Symmetra can just spam those ultimate fires, but Greatly showing incredible spacing here to make sure he does not put himself too far forward and get picked. The Immortality Field coming out very early from Taijidu and will be eliminated as it was immediately in the line of sight of Team Praxis. Team Praxis looks like they will be getting this very early cap. But the Rampage are farming a lot of ultimate. Sarkweek taking out Fragyata in that back line. The Symmetra turrets making it very difficult for the Rampage to move in, but with 2 down on the side of Team Praxis, make that 3. The Rampage are simply going to clean up the rest of them here unless we see an incredible ultimate. But with the Orisa having no idea Sarkweek was behind her, melting her, she will fall so early. The teleporter, I'm going to assume, was a panic play there from Great Leap. But it's okay, as the Rampage have now capped at this point with 20% already in favor for Team Praxis. The Rampage have a lot more ultimates coming online, though. The window is already up and available from Taijidu and could be used literally at any moment in this fight. It's just a great space maker. The Flame Strike just trying to get any damage will miss everyone. The Shatter from Yuxel. He's looking to use it if he can jump past that shield. There's the window. We see the Shatter only pick up 2, and Yuxel will not be able to do much about it as the rest of his team have been cleaned up behind him, possibly getting a little too greedy for that ultimate. An absolute very quick team kill from the Rampage. I wouldn't be surprised, as I was just about to say, we see some swaps come out of the team here. Team Praxis, the Echo coming out, making this an Echo v Echo, but with Sarkweek an entire ultimate in the lead because of the late swap. Things are going to get interesting here. We'll most likely see Sarkweek transform into that Sigma, as we saw he can absolutely carry a team with that transformation. Andromedus and Derpy both have their ultimates, as do Sarkweek and Malarat. The rock does connect through the shield for Yuxel. Already 20% to a Gravitic Flux. The Lighthouse coming out very early from Fragyata. The Immortality Field looks like it may be able to do more. The beat has been forced through Andromedus, making Draco drop that beat to save his teammates. Malarat has popped the rally as well. Sarkweek transforming into a Lucio. A possible misclick there, but 75 on the beat. Can the beat come out early? Even if it does, it's not needed, as 2 have already fallen. 3 have already fallen on the side of Team Praxis. The Rampage just again cleaning up this team and making sure they know this is our point and you will not be getting it back, with only one quick fight, one panic push left coming from Team Praxis. Team Rampage may be able to take this second game. Team Rampage did use every single ultimate they had, but a Blizzard from Nick, if he can touch the point, he can create an incredible stall, but without that Symmetra, they're going to have to go all the way around. He should wall himself up here just to touch that point a little bit faster, but they may be forced completely off the point. It looks like they may be able to touch if they can push themselves in. The wall does come out, as do the Blizzard, but Ash, Mui has already cleaned up a third of the team, make that half of the team on his own with that ultimate. The swap does come from Great Leap, but there's no way he's going to get that ultimate in time to make that worth it. Great Leap just shooting that little laser beam, that little laser pointer at the enemy team, but it's just not going to be enough, and it looks like Team Rampage will take this second map as well, putting them up at 2-0 against Team Praxis. Returning back to the lobby, we saw a lot of good things to talk about there. Team Praxis absolutely showing a much stronger team comp, a much stronger team performance on this control point versus the 2CP. Taijidu with that Baptiste, this is a newer pick for him, but he's showing that Baptiste is still a meta pick with that insane Immortality Field, and the ultimate in such tight corridors can really make or break a fight. We didn't see a lot of kills coming out of Taijidu, but we saw an insane amount of healing coming out of Taijidu. Derpy and Yuxel both hitting absolutely colossal shatters on those fights, cleaning them up, both hitting at least 2 in these big shatters. Yuxel hitting 3, Derpy hitting 3, both of them just absolutely making sure the other one knows, you better watch out because I'm coming for you. The second that shield goes down, I'm coming right after you. The swap onto the Echo, a little late for Team Praxis, could have valued them much earlier. They should have swapped the moment they lost that point, as Symmetra loses so much value once she can no longer hold on to that point on her own. Andromedus on the Sigma, a very comfortable thing we've seen time and time again, using that Gravitic Flux to force out the beat from Draco. Made it a very difficult fight for the Rampage to win, but they somehow did turn it around. Looks like we will see a sub out. Oh, excuse me, the sub will go right back. Nothing has changed on the side of Team Praxis. Don't be confused. Mui, also, we need to acknowledge that quadruple Death Blossom that was hit in the first map. The second map. It was just, he walked in and pressed Q. There was no rhyme or reason. The man just absolutely wiped the enemy team all by himself, cleaning up 3 of them with the ultimate and then 1 more immediately after. It looks like our third map will be Blizzard World. This is a hybrid map where the attacking team will have to capture a certain point and then escort the payload from that point to the end of the map with as much time as possible. The objective of the defending team is obviously make sure the attacking team can't do that. Very straightforward. Blizzard World not being a personal favorite map of mine, my personal favorite hybrid map being King's Row. One of the greats, one of the originals. And Blizzard World, I don't know, I just don't like it. I don't really have a reason. I'm just not a big fan. Still not seeing any swaps for either team. I'm sure we're sitting through a coaching session now. The Team Praxis most likely hearing that they need to group up more and they need to be using these cooldowns a little less willy-nilly. They need to be holding on to these ultimates. And the Rampage, we did see it once from them as well, but winning the fight made it a little more okay, as Team Praxis did use lots of ultimates and still ended up losing those fights. Things really were not looking good for them, but they somehow managed to turn those fights around, and they did cap the point. I mean, they won the first map even with these rather reckless ultimates. It looks like we will now be entering Blizzard World with Team Rampage on the attacking team. I feel we could either see a Sigma Ball comp, possibly a Winston Ball even if we're lucky from the Rampage here, but we will most likely see the Rein Zarya, as moving through that first choke with the walls and the arches there's very difficult to do without a main shield, possibly just to use the Lucio to speed boost through or something or other along those lines. I'm not very familiar with Team Praxis' team comps. They are a new team for us to scrim, but this is a very common map for an Orisa, possibly Orisa Rein or Orisa Sigma. We may even see the Ashe come back out from one of the teams. Yes, the Ashe coming out from both of the teams. I was correct in that prediction with the Orisa Sigma as well, coming from both sides. The Baptiste coming from Team Praxis, but Taijidu back on that Ana. We know he loves to play that Ana, and he can play a mean one. The Bio-Nades have make or break fights so many times. Malared hugging onto that Brigitte, just probably going to force his way in there, get a very early pick. Probably most likely going to take out that Immortality field as he can just hold left click on it and get it away very quickly, much faster than a lot of his teammates. And he can hit it while hitting other things, which is great for the team. Sarkweek's not going to have a little bit more trouble playing that high ground, playing in the sky, as Nick is on that Ashe. And Great Leap on the Echo as well. So it's an Echo and an Ashe versus an Echo and an Ashe. The only real big difference for these teams being the Baptiste Brig versus the Baptiste Zenyatta. Again, I don't think Zenyatta is a good pick for anyone right now, as if you're not getting that necessary damage, his healing is practically useless. You need to be landing those discords. You need to be fragging out, as Fragyada's name would imply. You need to frag unrelentlessly on the enemy team, but there's also not a lot of sights here for him to do so other than charge some alternate fires and pray for a lucky shot. The Rampage look like they're going to establish a high ground here and try to get early picks, but with Team Praxis grouping up much more than we have seen so far. Nick falling very early to Mui, but Sarkweek and Taijidu being critical in health. Andromeda's dropping below half as well. Team Rampage pushing in, even though they are very low in health. The Orb of Discord does come on to Sarkweek, and he's getting a lot of pressure put onto him from Great Leap. He will end up falling to the laser from Great Leap. Malorad goes for that whip shot, but it was not close enough, so he could not lend it. It is now a 5v5 with a slight spawn advantage here. Great Leap being sniped out of the air by Mui. A clean headshot with Bob only 25% away. Derpy has this great strategy of pulling directly above the shield and pre-firing in that direction to ensure that he can eliminate it. The window pane looks like it will be able to clean up Derpy. Draco dropping very low. Draco falling to the Dynamite, with 2 falling from Team Praxis. Team Rampage have lost 3 and will not be able to move forward. Taijidu still in the back line, cleaning up both of the tanks. Mui and Taijidu turning that fight around entirely by themselves. The Bob for good measure, I'm sure, but it's going to be a little bit sloppy as the Bob has been wasted, something that we did not want to see come from Moog, but we have seen how fast he can charge that Bob. Absolutely incredible that he's able to use that ultimate so quickly and just farm it again. Ashe and Moira being known as the walking ultimate, with Moira's being a little bit more of a cooldown, but Ashe is still farming incredibly fast. Ultimates from the side of Team Praxis. We're going to have 3 online here, on the way to 5 with the Rampage, ready to have the transformation and the Gravitic Flux come out, but the rest are a little bit low, especially that Bob that was kind of thrown for no real reason. The Kraken's farming his Gravitic Flux here. The Sigma's looking to get this big ult. Fragyada doing a great job of keeping that Discord on Sarkweek, but should he put it on Sarkweek or not Mui, as Mui has eliminated him from these fights twice now. The Kraken falling very low, but the Gravitic Flux is almost here. No, he will end up falling, and it looks like Sarkweek on the Sigma again with that transformation, just cleaning up. Sometimes you wonder, should you have this man on main tank if he can play like this? Are these lucky plays, or is he just a phenomenal player all around? 4 ultimates are ready to go live, nearly 5 coming from Team Praxis, with only 1, nearly 2 on the side of the Rampage. They're really going to have to win a dry push on their end here. to get this, but with Team Praxis playing so defensively, they've given up so much free ground on a little under 4 minutes on the clock. Fragyata falls again so early to Sarkweek. Sarkweek just high in the sky. The Ash not putting the proper pressure on him. The Gravitic Flux does come out, but the Immortality Field from Taijutsu is bigger. Sarkweek has now fallen to that Ash. Better late than never. The Bob does come out. He will hit the balloon stand. Andromedus has the Gravitic Flux, but this low at health, is it worth it to drop it? No, it looks like the Rampage will be trying to get out of this fight. The Gravitic Flux coming out from Great Leap, who has copied Andromedus, but he will be knocked out of it and will not get any ultimate value out of that, losing his entire ultimate. The Bongo and the Transcendence, as well as the Window on the side of Team Praxis. We've got 5 ultimates from Team Rampage here. The Immortality will go down as Great Leap's got a great angle to take it out. He's going to put a lot of pressure, but the shield will catch those bombs. Taijutsu does fall to Fragyata. Fragyata finally getting some value on that damage, but most likely should have swapped off the Zenyatta much earlier. All the Rampage have to do now is push and press Q, as they are halfway to having 6 ultimates. We've got a damn near apocalypse coming from them here. Sarkweek not even needing that transformation. We've seen the damage this man can do without his ultimate. I wouldn't be surprised if we only saw 1 or 2 ultimates. Most likely the Gravitic Flux to force the Transcendence. No, the Rally instead will come out first. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Bob as he is being thrown. The Window does come from Draco, but it will not be enough. Draco falls. The Bob does fall. It is still a 6v5 in the favor of the Rampage. The Kraken being caught out on his own. Transcendence was popped, I believe. I'm not completely sure, but it is gone. The Rampage, Sarkweek, as mentioned, does not need that transformation. He's going to clean up 4 of the team on his own, landing lots of headshots and bomb shots here. Taijutsu did pop that window, and whether that was used to make space or create damage, it did its job as they capped that second point with a little under 4 minutes on the clock. Mui with an incredibly early pick on Draco. They need to stop poking here if they want to beat the Rampage. It's these pokes. I don't know if it's the off angles or what, but that's the 3rd fight in a row that the Team Praxis has lost their support so early on. The bombs being thrown from sky high, getting lots of damage. Sarkweek probably looking for the transformation, most likely going to turn into the Sigma here. May turn into the Ash, that's not completely unheard of, but turning into the tank often gets much more value for the team than turning into a support or a DPS. Sarkweek's playing high in that sky again, but with all these shields, he's just got to hold down his click and try to burn him. The Bob does come from Nick, but the Gravitic Flux comes from the Kraken. Andromedus has fallen, Derpy has fallen, Taijutsu has fallen. It looks like the Rampage will be cleaned up here. Great Leap really coming to life, taking out half that team on his own. The Rampage will have to move back, and now there's 1 ultimate online, and it's the transformation from Great Leap. The Window will come from Draco very soon, but the Rampage are definitely in an ultimate deficit here. The fight is going to go slow. It's going to start slow. The Rampage need to poke these corners slow, make sure they don't get picked, farm these ultimates as fast as they can. Andromeda 70 to that Gravitic Flux. Even if he doesn't pick up kills, he could bait out Transcendence and Immortality Field if he's lucky. The Window coming from Draco very far forward, possibly too far forward to get a lot of value. Great Leap does swap onto the Sigma, less than 100 health. He gets the Gravitic Flux onto Andromedus and will not be knocked out of it, but Andromedus will not completely fall to it quite yet. Nick getting a double dynamite and getting a triple kill of his own. Mui has that Bob, Taijutsu has that Window. Losing that fight, but 2 minutes still on the clock. Team Rampage here absolutely able to win this fight. 2 ultimates over 1 on the side of Team Praxis. If Team Praxis can land this Transcendence, they can negate Bob almost entirely, but they'll most likely hold on to that ultimate for the Gravitic Flux to come out. Bob flying into the front line. Can he confirm any kills? The Window coming from Taijutsu as well. There's the Force Transcendence as predicted. Great Leap still falling. Bob has been pulled off the map by Yuxel. An incredible placement of that pull. Team Rampage getting a lot of free ground as Praxis is forced to move backwards. They use the 1 ult they had in their locker, and it will not be enough as Rampage are still getting massive picks. Nick falling into the 5v6. Here comes the Gravitic Flux with the Transcendence not there to catch it. 2 will fall to Mui with the Gravitic Flux helping clean up those kills. Great Leap being forced back. He's very low with no healers to help him here. He will fall to Mui. Mui with an incredible accuracy up to this point. They may be able to walk this card in with 1 minute and 15 seconds. Not an insane time bank, but still very impressive for a map like Blizzard World with over 1 minute on the clock. The Rampage have completed that first round. Absolutely amazing push from the Rampage. We've seen an absolutely just guttural, almost primal performance from the Rampage here. These offenses have just been so unbelievably aggressive. They've given no free space. They've lost so few fights. They've put on such an angry face and held W so aggressively that Team Praxis never has the time to regroup and push forward. Those early picks coming from Sarkweek or Mui every single time on the supports made it so easy for them to win these fights time and time again, giving them such a large time bank. It was a minute and it was a little over a minute, I believe. We'll see if that Team Praxis can push it to that. Again, because this is a scrim, that will go to whoever has more time in the bank for the technical win. But with an aggression like that, I'll be shocked if Team Praxis can even make it to the end of the map. We don't see lots of changes here coming from either team. Double shield on the side of the offense as well as the defense. The only real difference here being a Brigitte over a Zenyatta, which I think is the pick. I, again, cannot stress enough, Zenyatta does not fit the current meta. He needs to get buffed more because he's too easy to take out of the fight. He has no mobility, and without Transcendence or landing these Discord orbs, he's just not going to do well. The best thing a team can do, really, is put a damage player on Zenyatta and pray that he can land these shots. The gates will open very soon. It looks like we aren't going to see any more swaps here. The gates will open, and Team Praxis is really just going to have to hold W. The bombs from Sarkweek not getting any damage as the Sigma Shield did come out first. Great Leap is high up in the sky. They will rotate around to their right side. Looks like the Rampage are going to be giving up a very large window here. They're not going to hold this first choke, but instead they're going to hold the statue choke. Team Praxis is going to rotate to the right side in an effort to gain high ground. Sarkweek, 20% of that ultimate already, double what Great Leap has, but Great Leap can farm that ultimate very quickly. A very large pull coming from Derpy, but no follow-up damage. Sarkweek taking a support out of the fight, something we have seen time and time again. Absolutely relentless. Halfway to that transformation already, still double what Great Leap has. Sarkweek dropping very low. He may be taken out by those bombs. Great Leap will eliminate Sarkweek, but without a support, Team Praxis cannot really afford to move forward quite yet. I would say that the Baptiste has the spawn advantage, but Echo just moves so freaking fast that it's going to be difficult for him to get back before she does. The ultimate's being charged on the side of the Rampage much faster here. The pull again from Derpy. Can it connect with anything? No, Yuxel has dropped off the high ground, just shooting a shield on his own. I'm not really sure what the game plan is here. Bowie eliminating Nick very early on. Yuxel will move past the shield, but a new one will come out any second from Derpy. There it is, as predicted. No ultimates quite yet. Draco does have that window, but can he land a place to use it? Yuxel just holding down that left click, not really working or coordinating with his team, but just trying to get picks all on his own. The window is ready. The Zenyatta very low in the backline. Fragyata is farming those shields back up. Draco's falling very low. Less than 50 health, less than 20 health. He will land that. He uses both of his cooldowns very quickly, trying to get this cleanup kill. The immortality does go down. Tajidu does finally fall to Nick. Sarkweek swapping onto Baptiste to get that extra immortality field. Whether that was intentional or not, that play was absolutely genius. The Gravitic Flux from Andromeda is cleaning up the Kraken without that second tank. They're really going to have to struggle to move forward here. If Andromeda can clean up another kill, he can turn this point around. There it is, but no, he still will fall to Great Leap. Movie on his own, very unlikely he's going to flip this point. Sarkweek now trying to clear up this point, but it looks like they may finally cap this first point with a little less than 2 minutes on the clock. The transformation not having to be used, which is fantastic. 20% off the Bob. And the Rampage only having the one ultimate, but the Bonko is almost ready as well. And the rally should not be far behind. The transformation from Great Leap can really make or break this fight. As if he gets a lot of value, they'll get a lot of free space to move forward. He only needs to get 1 or 2 good picks, but flying into the wall like that isn't going to do much for him. He gets pulled forward, but the kill will not be coming through. He looks to be pressuring Andromedas here. The ultimate's being farmed on the side of the Rampage as Great Leap is not doing the damage necessary. The Gravitic Flux is live. Will probably come out any second. Tajidu does pop that window with the immortality, not able to be taken out quite yet. It does give them a lot of free space to sit there and hold their left clicks. The Gravitic Flux finally coming out with no immortality field to stop this. This could be huge, but no, it instead will clean up 0 kills. Fragyata does eliminate Sarkweek, but the Rampage are holding relentlessly on this corner, playing a lot of corners, not poking out without the shields to avoid being picked very early. The Bob does come out from Movie, and it looks like it will be running possibly all the way off the map. Oh, yes, the Bob will fall. It did not hit anything. It will just jump off the map entirely, even without the second wasted Bob of the game. The Rampage will still be able to clean that up. Movie 15% to another one. The ultimate's still higher on the side of Team Praxis. That transformation not being used quite yet. That Transcendence now coming online most likely will be saved for that Gravitic Flux, as we have seen time and time again coming from Fragyata. He plays a very defensive play style, which I think would suit him better on something like an Ana or a Moira. Mui with another early kill. The Team Praxis might as well get out already. They're not going to be able to do this. The Rampage have set up an absolute steel, just unbelievable, unbreakable wall here. And it's going to be very difficult for Team Praxis to get past this. I would call this area almost 0.1.5 as so many teams get stopped here, and they really will have to cap this first corner in order to cap this. Great Leap less than 100 health. He will transform into the Sigma. This could be a very big Gravitic Flux as they are grouped up very tightly in that small corridor. He will eliminate Tajidu and help eliminate Derpy without the Gravitic Flux. Andromeda's falling as well, making that Gravitic Flux useless, but the swap onto the Sigma was not useless within itself. Malorad pushing forward on his own, most likely just trying to die. Fragyata finally dishing out that damage we've needed to see all game to play on that Zenyatta. I don't know if the Rampage have just been doing such a great job keeping him in check or what, but the damage from Fragyata will really have to be up tier if he wants to win this game with his team. Tajidu's Immortality Field has already gone down. The Gravitic Flux most likely coming out. The Rampage will give up the point for free, and the transformation will come from Starkweek. He will eliminate Fragyata very quickly, but the transformation has been taken out by Fragyata as well. Starkweek falling to Great Leap with 3.5 minutes on the clock. It looks like Team Praxis is walking on a dream here, as they may be able to cap this with more time than the Rampage. The Rampage have 4 ultimates to stop this, and with a push, with a pull falling so early and the Bob coming out, hopefully this Bob can stay on the map. It looks like he will be able to do so, but how long will he survive? Not very long, but he did get lots of damage and did force Team Praxis to move backward in order to avoid being picked by the Bob, as Bob is literally just a moving aimbot. The triple pull, some balloons were popped as we heard. I don't know why I called that out, but you know, it is what it is. A very early Gravitic Flux from the Kraken. Any kill confirmations? No, but Derpy will end up falling to the bombs from Great Leap as well. It's going to be difficult here as Andromeda has the Gravitic Flux, but his team's being forced back relentlessly. The window is ready to come from Tajidu as he jumps the Hail Mary leap into his team to make sure that he can heal them without being picked. I wouldn't be surprised if the window came out, but with Starkweek falling, things are going to get tough here. The Rampage are really going to have to no longer hold their punches. They're really going to have to start going on a legitimate Rampage if they want to hold this point at all. The window does come out, the Gravitic Flux coming out as well, but the Transcendence already up. The Gravitic Flux will not confirm any kills. The Transcendence doing more healing than damage can be done. The Immortality Field has been eliminated. Fragyata has finally fallen, as has Derpy. The Gravitic Flux now coming out, but it will be eliminated right away as Great Leap is knocked out of that transformation. No ultimates coming from anybody. This dry fight will have to be one we have seen. The Rampage don't need ultimates to win a fight. Oh my goodness, they will turn around what should have been a lost fight as Sarkweek cleans up half the team on his own, but Mui just making sure that every pick Sarkweek doesn't pick up, Mui will. The transformation now online, the only ultimate that'll be available, which does put the Rampage in a very good spot, as if Sarkweek can turn into that Sigma, he can put an unbelievable amount of pressure on the enemy team with their Gravitic Flux. We might see the transformation incredibly early as well. The bombs go out, not getting a lot of damage, but causing some damage onto Yuxel here. He will fly up into the sky. It looks like they will be rotating around the far left side. They've got to watch for a pull from Derpy. One lucky pull could wipe an entire team here. Who will he turn into? It's gonna be difficult to turn into an enemy here as they're all grouped up, moving back into spawn. What do we get? Well, if he shoots the bombs in there, he can do an insane amount of damage. Yes, he will cause Fragyata to fall again. Fragyata not getting that necessary damage to be on that Zenyatta. Great Leap looking to get some damage here, but will be picked. Mui picking Nick as well. It looks like a 3v6 in the favor of the Rampage, and if this drops less than a minute, the Rampage will have the technical win on this map, whether the Praxis are able to cap the 3rd point or not. The transformation didn't even have to be used, and now they farmed so much ult off of that fight that Team Rampage, it's going to be difficult to lose this fight now. The Bob can maybe do some damage, but with the double shield, he's probably just going to spend his entirety just shooting at the shields. The Bob is ready, like I said. If he can land this pick on Stark, this could be very good for Team Praxis, but Starkweek will fall out of the LOS before the pick is completed. Andromedus is a little bit forward by himself here, and it looks like he will be picked. This is great for Team Praxis. This is the perfect opportunity. Double Bob coming out. Mui's Bob already being eliminated. Can Nick's Bob do any better? No, that one being eliminated as well with 2 falling on the side. Excuse me, 1 falling on the side of Team Praxis. The Rampage can finally turn this fight around in their favor. The clock will tick into overtime very soon. Tajidu swapped to that Zenyatta. It looks like he may be picked very early on. I'm not quite sure. No, Nick will be picked by Andromedus instead, as will Fragyata. Andromedus will make sure his team will not lose this fight, getting a triple kill of his own. It looks like with 5 seconds left on the clock, Team Praxis will not be able to touch. This will be a very sorry loss for Team Praxis, as they were mere meters away from completing that with over 2 minutes. But Team Rampage's defense is rock solid, and they will get the 3rd win of the evening. Team Praxis playing a very strong offense there. They got a huge walk from point 1 to point 2 after winning that first really difficult fight, but the Rampage can just hold on a little bit tighter, and it looks like they will be up 3-0 over Team Praxis in this 5-game scrim. Now I'm sure we're hearing again, or we won't be hearing, but we're probably witnessing lots of coaching going on. Both coaches probably giving lots of information to the team. I don't know what you can tell Team Rampage at this point. Like, they're playing so well. There's so much coordination and communication between these ultimates and such a rock-solid team that it's incredible to think that any team could beat them, that they've even been beaten before. They're showing us absolutely insane amounts of progress in the last couple of weeks. We've seen Team Rampage grow as such an absolute unit of a team. They're almost at this point unstoppable. It blows my mind to see the absolute coordination that this team can pull off. Team Praxis with a lot of really good picks on that offense, but they could not get what they needed. I really do still think, not to bully these healers, but I really do still think it's a healing issue coming from the side of Team Praxis. They just, every fight, don't have as much healing as the Rampage, and that will obviously mean the Rampage can stay up just a little bit longer. A personal map of mine coming up next, an escort map, Rialto. Rialto can be really big here for a double shield comp on the defense, but a Rein Zarya on the offense. Roadhog being a weirdly common pick here, even though he's not very meta. Roadhog does get picked on these maps quite often. I would be kind of surprised if we saw him, but it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world. With the current setup, Team Rampage will be defending first, which is very exciting as we have seen them attacking first very often. This may make the map a little bit faster if they hold on to that rock-solid defense and they only have to move the cart a little bit. Things may work out slightly better for them. If Team Praxis can get very early cart presence and push this card a little bit further, I could see them able to win the first couple of fights and cap that first point, but that will be if Fragyata can avoid being picked so early on, and Great Leap can really challenge Sarkweek on that Echo, which we've seen Great Leap and Sarkweek are very neck and neck in regards to capping these points and doing very well with these ultimates. They've taken each other out so many times that things have been really confusing. Mui and Nick in a similar boat, but I do think Mui has pulled ahead the slightest bit in regards to dealing more damage and getting more kills than Nick. While Nick can farm his ultimate, it appears faster. Mui just gets those kill confirmations so much faster. At this point, to be honest, and not to pick favorites here, but I think the Rampage's tanks, there's just a huge tank difference here, as the Rampage has had so much value in their tanks versus the tanks on the side of Team Praxis. Yuxel playing a much better Reinhardt than an Orisa. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an offensive Reinhardt come out of him here, as he's hit some insane shatters, particularly on Lijang Tower. I'm sure we remember all of those shatters. Team Praxis showing a lot of potential and a lot of value if they can group up just the slightest bit more, and they use those ultimates much better in the game. It's almost as if they could hear me speaking, which no one can other than myself. I probably look like a fool talking to myself in this room all the time, but that's okay. If Nick can get these Bobs a little bit later in fights with lower health bars, Bob could probably pick up more kills. And while Bob makes a great distraction on his own, and while he's very easy to farm, he gets more value with lower health targets, of course, because he can take them out much faster. Rialto finally going live, and yes, Team Praxis will be on that offense first. Oh, it looks like the match has not technically started yet. There we go. We saw a Widowmaker, but it was Malorad, so something tells me that was probably just a pre-game pick. A little goofy a joke here. A McCree may also come out from Mui here, but at this point, if you're going to play McCree, you might as well play Ashe, as we've seen Mui's accuracy on Ashe is just next level. It is phenomenal. For every one shot he misses, he's landing 2 more. We've seen insane targets here. Like I said, probably a double shield defense and a Rein Zarya offense. Let's see. No, instead, a double shield offense, and as I said, Andromeda, darn, he will be switching back to that Sigma. I did get my hopes up the slightest bit we were going to see a Roadhog today. But Taijidu is now on that Zenyatta, leveling this playing field as we have an almost identical, now it's 2 different, Draco on that Lucio and Nick on the Tracer versus a Baptiste and an Ashe. This is really going to come down to who can play these characters better, as it's not exactly a mirror match, but things are going to get really difficult for each team, especially on this corner. Both Echoes should get a lot of value. No, it looks like we will be running almost an identical mirror matchup. Things are getting very exciting here. The Echo and the Tracer being the only separate. We have a 5v5 mirror matchup with a single switch on both teams. If Nick switches onto that Echo, which I doubt we will see, if anything, Nick would swap onto the Ashe. The Rampage are spread out a little bit, and oh, Sarkweek got such an early kill on Draco that Team Praxis might as well just walk back into spawn and hope to start over. That was just a very unfortunate pick. Great Leap already 25% of to that Bob. We haven't seen a lot of damage coming from any team yet, and things are going to get difficult as each team has to really hold their ground. The Immortality Field comes out first. Mui eliminating Fragyata again. Things are looking very good for the Rampage in this early fight as a 3rd fall comes from Team Praxis. Sarkweek has been eliminated by Great Leap, but that means basically nothing at this point as Team Praxis is still down 3 heroes. Mui taking out Draco again. Draco can't even get out of spawn. How he has 45% on his ultimate, I have no idea. Taijidu is eliminated by Nick, and we most likely will see a swap from Taijidu as that Tracer in the back line will just be too dangerous. But being halfway to that ultimate, he may not swap quite yet. He may pop Transcendence and then swap. Nick is just standing still in the back line, waiting to farm that pulse bomb. If he can go up and around, he may be able to get a very early pick on Malorad, but Malorad has an incredible reaction time from playing again. Now Andromedus will pressure Nick in this 1v1. Andromedus making sure that Nick moves back into his own side of the fight. The pull coming out, but the bomb's just a wee bit early. Sarkweek 30 health. He's got to play really passive here, as one shot from anybody will kill him. Sarkweek did catch Nick moving to the back line, putting pressure on Taijutsu again, but Nick with the pulse bomb. If he can land this pulse bomb, things will really not be looking good here. Andromeda's getting the double kill. Both teams moving in here. 80% on the map for Andromeda's here. If he can get this Gravitic Flux, he won't even need it at this point. Sarkweek's taken out, but missing a main tank. The double shield comp simply does not work. Andromeda's putting a lot of pressure on Draco. Can he win this fight? Nick coming in to save Draco. Will it be enough? Nick did already eliminate Taijutsu. And it looks like Nick is just relentless in this backline, but Draco does fall to Mui in without the... Oh, no. Whoa, Nick making it out with 7 health. Phenomenal. We see a massive ult advantage on the side of the Rampage here. Taijutsu not quite having that Transcendence, but at this point, what is he needed for? The Kraken's still 30% away from his ultimate as well. Maybe the Bob, but at this point, the Bob's really not going to do much if the Rampage can hold such a steady defense. 2 minutes left on the clock. I'd say that's 3 good pushes to come from the Team Praxis, but they're still farming those ultimates very late. Mui does eliminate Nick, making it a very quick 5v6. The high ground advantage may make this a possible win. Yes, a 5v5 now. The window will most likely come up from Draco. Yep, as predicted, there is the window. Things are going to get sloppy here for both teams, since it's now who can get another elimination first. It looks like it will be Team Praxis. As Derpy falls, they will get now establish a cart presence here. Bob coming from them as well. Both Bobs coming out. Here we go. Mui landing a very close shot on the Tracer. Ooh, Mui falling to Fragyata. Fragyata getting a lot of revenge on that kill to Mui, but Nick falling to the Dynamite. Taijutsu does pop the Transcendence, trying to establish a dominance over Team Praxis. A lot of ultimates coming from the Rampage. They're sacrificing a lot of ults for what is not yet their final fight. Here comes yet another Gravitic Flux, but Andromeda's will be taken out of the fight. The Kraken now putting his. The Immortality Field has been destroyed. This could be a huge Gravitic Flux. He gets a quintuple kill, and that will give Team Praxis the opportunity to cap this first point and give them 2.5 minutes to go on the clock. Things are looking very good for Team Praxis. We see a lot of swaps coming from Team Rampage. Taijutsu onto that Baptiste. I wouldn't be surprised if a Rhyme Zarya came out soon here. So they're going to have to get a lot more brawly to prevent Team Praxis, who's getting a lot of free space. Sarkweek up in the air trying to land these shots. Just trying to farm an ultimate. He's only a 1/5 of the way there. Things are looking very good for Team Praxis, possibly the best we've seen so far. They're getting a lot of free card value as they push so far forward, and they ended up not losing. I thought that Sigma was going to fall there. Nick uses the Pulse Bomb, but all it does is take out the Immortality Field. Nick's still in the back line. Things are not looking good here for the Praxis. No Immortality Fields will be in play. Team Praxis has pushed this cart halfway to the next point with legitimately no stall on the cart at all. A Dynamite, a very large Dynamite, comes in from Mui's 80% to his ultimate, but if Nick can confirm this kill, Mui landing another shot on a Tracer, which even if it's not a kill, it's still a very impressive feat as the Tracers move so damn fast, it's hard to hit them sometimes. A big pull coming from Derpy. The Bob from Mui is gonna put pressure Team Praxis back. Mui taking a lot of damage from Nick. Nick in that back line. He was stunned, but he was able to use that recall. Andromeda's eliminating Great Leap. Andromeda's falling as well. It is now a 5v5 for both teams. The window has come from Draco with only 2 minutes left on the clock, and the transformation coming from Sarkweek. A massive pull. If they can time these pulls a little bit better. The pull from Yuxel forcing the Gravitic Flux to do nothing. If Sarkweek can confirm the kill on the Gravitic Flux, things will go very well for him here. Excuse me, on Yuxel. With 2 falling in a minute and a half left. This, to me, would be the point 1.5 of Rialto. Is it so difficult to regain point here once you lose it? A Doomfist here could do Team Praxis lots of good if they could do a lot of damage. The long distance from Sarkweek is really going to put a lot of pressure on this team as he can farm that ultimate from so far, and it's such an open corridor, it's going to be hard to avoid these shots from him. Oh, Nick is in the backline with the Pulse Bomb. Can he do it? Can he land this Pulse Bomb? If he can land a stick, this could be absolutely massive. Let's see. No, he instead sticks the wall, then only gets some damage. Unfortunate waste of the ultimate, but he is still in a good spot to flank if he can move forward. Fragyata still on that Zen. It looks like we will not be seeing a different support from him anytime soon. A Gravitic Flux again. The Transcendence coming out. Absolutely a good pick here as the Transcendence was used to counter that Gravitic Flux. We've seen that time and time again. Andromeda's getting a very early pick on Draco. Mui's Bob falling, but that is okay as if he can clean up Great Leap here. Things are going to get sloppy, but Andromeda's may be able to confirm the kill. No, he will not be able to confirm the kill on Great Leap, and he will instead fall to Fragyata, who is now fragging on the Zenyatta, as the name would imply. With less than 30 seconds on the clock and one of their supports falling this late in the fight, Team Praxis is really going to have to pray here that they can get an insane ultimate. They've got plenty on the board. Sarkweek almost fell very early there, but was able to make it out of that fight. Team Praxis has the ultimates. They would be able to make it out of this fight very early if they can just touch the point with 10 seconds left. All they have to do is touch and press Q, and they should be able to push this to the second point. The window comes up from Tajidu here. The Gravitic Flux coming out from the Kraken, but he is instead stunned out of it. Incredible. Buoy already cleaning up too. It looks like this fight is going to end in the favor of the Rampage. Sarkweek gets 2 of his own. Oh, they showed up, they pressed Q, but it was not enough, as we have seen Team Rampage just not need ultimates to play well and to perform well. An incredible performance from every team here. It looks like we will be getting that early reset to put the Rampage on offense. Again, this is a scrim, so it will go as far as possible if the Rampage end up winning the map. They may be full stalled at this first point, as this first point, in my opinion, is one of the very hardest to break in this game. The sun is always shining in Rialto, but that does not mean it's always going to be a good day for one of these teams. One team will win and one team will lose as the game goes, as the story's been told. Possibly the double shield from both teams again. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Zenyatta and a BAP. Let's see what we got. Zenyatta, BAP, double shield. Oh no, it looks like the Rampage will instead be running a dive comp, which is very exciting, is on that offense. Sarkweek's Genji and Tajidu on the Ana. That's a comp that we are very familiar with, and if Sarkweek can land these ultimates, he can absolutely frag against the enemy team, and if they eliminate the Zenyatta, the Transcendence will be completely useless. Well, the Transcendence will be a good pick against the Zenyatta. Or against the Genji, excuse me. That's if Fragyata can live long enough to actually get his ultimate, something we've seen time and time again. He's just had so much pressure put out on him. Mui on the Tracer now and Nick on the Ashe. The roles have been reversed, but the question is, can Nick land as many headshots against a Tracer as Mui did? Not even headshots, but just to put the pressure down, because if he cannot put the pressure down, things are going to get sloppy. Looks like the Rampage are a little bit spread out here, but they will be pressuring. Derpy diving around the far side. It looks like he might go over that rooftop, which is always a very good strategy. They're getting a lot of early advantage here, a lot of cart presence. Yuxel does have the pull, but he misses it. Mui eliminating the Sigma from Team Praxis so early on. Things are not looking good for Team Praxis already. Another kill from Mui onto Nick. Nick did not even know he was there. Derpy takes out Yuxel as well. And with only half the team left, Team Praxis is going to have to move back here. They're going to lose this first fight right away. With 3.5 minutes on the clock, Team Rampage is already halfway to capping this first point. Mui doing a great job of pressuring a backline so Sarkweek can just clean up the front line. They've got the enemy team here really pincered here. Yuxel only 2% as he swapped onto the Reinhardt. You should have started on the Reinhardt, in my opinion, as Ryan gets a lot of value on the defense here, dropping below half health. It looks like Andromedus has been caught out of sight here on his own, but Derpy leaps in to make sure that he does not die. Derpy half health as well. Malorad on this Lucio, they do not have as much healing as they'd like. Tajidu only able to shoot one target at a time. The nades cannot be enough to keep his team alive. Team Praxis doing a great job putting a lot of pressure. Nick swapping to the McCree to take out Mui. Not a surprise there either. Team Praxis looks like they may be able to... Oh no, it looks like they will be committing the Rampage here. And possibly even the Primal Rage. Derpy has incredible Primal control. And if he's able to use that Primal Rage... Yes, he will use the Primal Rage, but can he clean up any kills before he's eliminated? Already half health. No, excuse me, already less than 100 health. Fragyata is able to take out the Winston. Fragyata already showing the Baptiste may have been the swap all along, as that window has already ready to go live. Sarkweek has the blade, but Tajidu committed the nano there, so we may see a nanoless blade coming up very soon, or they may hold on to the blade as they do still have 2 minutes, and we have seen Tajidu is able to farm that very early nano. Andromeda's falling very low here, but he's not in the line of sight of Tajidu. Tajidu does confirm those shots. Now halfway to that nano. As I said, 3 ultimates. Oh, Mui falling again to Nick. We may see the swap off. The Bionade comes out, but only hits 1 on the side of Team Praxis. Derpy ready to leap in, but the enemy team does know he's there. He does not have his teammates with him. He cannot leap in. It would be an absolute death sentence. 1.5 minutes left on the clock. They're really scattered here, the Rampages. They have to decide, when are we going to leap in? We're just poking. We're just taking damage. We're just feeding these ultimates. Mui's still looking for that pulse bomb. Nick taking out Derpy. The beat coming out from Malorad just a little bit too late. The pulse bomb comes out, only takes out an immortality field. Looks like the Rampage are not going to be able to win this fight yet. Team Praxis will be able to clean up this fight. Mui is just being pressured really hard by Echo on the D.Va, and it looks like the D.Va will actually have to run. He'll send the bomb, but I doubt it will clean up any kills as nobody's really there. It was mostly just to use it, almost a showboat of sorts. Alright, the Nano Blade is ready, as is the bomb. The only problem is if he can get any kills. No! Sarkweek! Sarkweek is immediately stunned and eliminated by Nick. Thank Tajidu. Wait, Tajidu used the Nano, but Sarkweek just died too early? The Nano didn't come through all the way. It looks like Team Praxis is in a fantastic spot to win this fight. Nick on the McCree being an absolutely incredible swap. 30 seconds left. The Rampage really only have a panic push and no ultimates as they're swapping this late in the game, but what for? Can they even touch the point with 20 seconds left? Sarkweek back on that Echo. He's very, very good there, but the question is, can he put in the damage now to make that swap so late worth it? Already 15% to his transformation, but can he farm 80% in 10 seconds? I don't think so. Can they even touch the cart? Team Praxis really putting pressure on Team Rampage. Are we going to see not even a touch? No. Mui is able to touch, and Sarkweek has taken out Nick. Do we see from the graveyard? Do we see the Rampage complete this cleanup? No. Great Leap falls. Derpy falls. The Rampage are still at a 1 advantage if Mui can land these shots. Sarkweek, oh, the swap to Echo is absolutely worth it as Sarkweek cleans up half the team on his own. Sarkweek again cleans up Draco, and it looks like the Rampage can finally come to life. The window coming from Fragyata, but it's almost for no reason as it's not enough. Nick is pushing forward and will fall to Mui. Mui finally getting that revenge kill. The Kraken falling as well. Mui cleaning up half the team on his own. 80% to another Pulse Bomb. Team Praxis will be able to touch again before that cart pushes onto the first point. An incredible performance so far from every single team here. A great defense and a great offense. Which one is better at this point? It looks like Draco on the Brig is putting a lot of pressure. No! The C9! The C9 is... Team Praxis takes the map. Team Rampage C9's off the payload. They were not as close as they thought they were. Oh, the letter number coming out of Team Rampage, putting Team Praxis their first win of the night. Team Rampage, I think, really could have turned that fight around, but they let go of the cart just a little bit too early. Oh, that was very unfortunate. You hate to see C9's, that map, almost famous for them. Very unfortunate. I am going to check. Yes, it was a C9 on the side of the Rampage. Very unfortunate, but they are still up 3-1 in this scrimmage. We will be going to our final map of the evening. I'm sure the coaching right now sounds something along the lines of, hey, don't C9. And that's probably about it, as the Rampage really did get incredible picks there. They were winning the team fight at the very end, but it just, oh... You hate to see it. I don't know if there was a boop or a pull or a shield or what, but they let go of that point just a little bit too early. We still saw incredible plays. Sarkweek's Genji not getting the value we expected, as the Genji is very good, but with so many stuns on the side of Team Praxis, that immediate shield bash flashbang just wiped him off the table. The ultimate, he didn't even get to swipe once. He pulled the sword and had to put it right back as they sent him straight to the graveyard. A final map of the evening will be Nepal, and I've got this funny feeling Andromedus may pop off for us again. This is one of Andromedus' best maps, as he is able to get those boops on the ball time and time again, and God, I hope we see a good one. The coaching most likely wrapping to an end here. Nick on that McCree, honestly, it makes you wonder, why hasn't he been playing it the entire time? That McCree was just absolutely relentless. He played an insane game. I'm not sure why it was so late, but it showed up, and it really showed up. It really eliminated the enemy team so many times. It took Mui out of the fight so many times over and over again. The coaching, as I said, coming to an end here at any second, as Nepal will be our final map of the evening. Technically, Team Rampage has taken the win when they completed that third map in their favor, but we do this so that everybody can improve and get this practice in. These games really having no stakes, but we're mostly here just to have fun and practice. The Rampage and Praxis here to practice their gameplay, and myself here to practice my commentating. The coaching session seems to be taking a while. We may have experienced some technical difficulties I'm unaware of. Someone may have had to use the restroom. I myself have to use the restroom very badly at this moment, but would like to make it through the 5th game in order to complete this very quickly and get this posted for everyone online. I think the MVP of each team of that map alone probably being both Nick and Sarkweek. They absolutely just played incredible. Mui as well, maybe even tied to Sarkweek. The damage heroes on the Rampage just relentless on that final push and that defense to make sure they got as little value as possible. With this being Nepal, I would expect Sanctum. We most likely see possibly a Sigma Ball coming from the Rampage, probably the Echo, and probably the Ashe or McCree. That would be my guess. Taijutsu has the freedom to play either Baptiste or Ana, but if they're not going to play a Genji, he's probably going to lean a little bit toward Baptiste. This is a complete prediction, and they're probably going to play a dive comp, and I'll look stupid, but that'd be hysterical too, right? The coaching session here. I'm not sure what else can be said other than keep playing your best, because every game is so fight. Every fight is so close. Every fight is down to the wire in regards to who's going to pick up that kill, who's going to pick up that completion. It's been an incredible show. Even though Team Rampage has come out on top time and time again, Team Praxis has adapted. We've seen they haven't been getting those early picks anymore. Team Praxis hasn't been losing those supports over and over. It took all the way till map 4, but they finally figured it out. Our supports, we've got appeal for our supports. Nepal finally goes live, and it looks like the first map will be Nepal Sanctum. No, excuse me, Nepal Shrine. Sanctum is the indoors one. I saw a very early pick from Derpy on Wrecking Ball, and I hope to see that come to fruition, as Wrecking Ball is one of my favorite heroes to watch at a professional level. These maps can get very, very close, and I would not be surprised if every single map turned into a 9-9-9-9. But who knows, one of these teams may come out and go on a complete stomp or a complete rampage and eliminate the enemy team, make it a 9-9-0-0. The gates will not open for another 30 seconds, but the heroes will be revealed. It looks like the Zarya Rein, the Rein Zarya May Reaper comp coming from the Rampage, a comp that we're very familiar with, and in my opinion is a very effective comp. Somebody lands the buckets, absolute pot shot, hits the basket hoop. Let's see, does he do it again? Pressure's on me, we were all watching. Oh, he misses the shot. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Team Praxis running that double shield comp. We've got completely different comps here. No hero being on either team twice. Team Praxis with a double shield, the Tracer in the back line, but with the Mei, the Tracer's going to have a lot more trouble shooting around that back line. Sarkweek can put a lot of pressure on both tanks here and force them to move back, but without a Reinhardt, he's not going to get as much value as predicted. Again, a control point. Who's going to get a pick first? That's the question, because it's going to go into the favor of that team. They will get early point advantage. Great leap in the back line already. He's 60% to his transformation. Taijutsu falling early to the Orisa of Team Praxis. But the Rampage are not backing up. They are going to be relentless here. If they can get a pick as well, they can even things up and make it easier. Andromeda's falling as well. Now a 4v6, a 3v6 for the Rampage. They will have to get out of here. Louis not escaping with his life. And it looks like we will move into the final first cap of the evening. Team Praxis capping this point. 90% getting a lot of ult charge out of these fights. Nick is going to wait in his back line, probably passively charge this last 10% and go for a big bomb. The Rampage have no idea that he's right behind them. 60% to his shatter is not going to be enough compared to what Team Praxis already has lined up. Team Praxis did exactly what they needed to do as well with that team comp. They needed to get a very early point advantage. Nick, maybe he's finally going to make that charge. He passively charged the last 10%. Here it comes. Oh, he sticks it onto Mui, and Mui falls so early. Was that 10% worth it? I think so, as they can move into the point. The transformation comes from Great Leap, the Echo, but it looks like they will be walled off by Sarkweek. The Echo not being able to use the charge in, but not going to be able to land the Shatter on anybody. Oh, the Shatter does not come out in time. Falling less than 100 health. Oh, we do see a pause here. Possibly a disconnect, possibly a bathroom break, who knows. But we have seen an insane defense from Team Praxis here. Oh, a disconnect on the side of Team Praxis. Very unfortunate. It looks like they did lose they did lose their Orisa player. We will have to wait as a new player will have to be put into the map. Unfortunate to see a pause this late into the game, as Team Praxis has half of the point already. They no longer have the ult advantage, but they have the point advantage. Yuxel with that Gravitic Flux could really do some damage if Malorad wastes that beat on his team before the Flux comes out. They don't have the resources to stop an ultimate, though. Mui has swapped that McCree off the Reaper, which does give Fragiata a little more experience, a little more room to use his Transcendence, since he no longer has to hold it for that Death Blossom. He may possibly use it on the Shatter here. We have seen Derby's cleaning up that Shatter, 3 hits from the ultimate. If he's going to use it on the enemy team, he's going to have to hold it for a little bit, though, as he's very out of place, and he has already lost his off-tank, and without an off-tank, the Reinhardt will be shredded to a pulp. It will be relentless from Team Praxis as they really want to take this last map home. Fragiata getting to play the Zenyatta in the way he's been trying to this entire time. He gets to play that defensive Zenyatta versus that offensive he's been forced to play all game. We have seen Fragiata is a much more defensive Zenyatta player, where Draco pretty much just does what needs done. He can play defense, he can play offense, and while he hasn't done anything necessarily spectacular, that's unfortunately the job of a healer. You don't get the highlights, you don't get the praise, you just do the job and help your team win. I'm disappointed to see Taijitu back on the Ana, as I just love to see his Baptiste play. I don't know what it is between the two, but he's so relentlessly aggressive on that Baptiste that it's just always so much fun to watch. That's the kind of hero you get highlights with, is that Baptiste, because all the other supports can't do damage enough. Hopefully Draco himself can get these highlights, as we were talking about. Malorad has that beat, as mentioned. Sarkweek has that Blizzard. With the disconnect finally coming through, the new hero should be connecting onto the side of Team Praxis any moment now. If the Gravitic Flux can come out and pick up a lot, hopefully Malorad can use that beat to save his team, but also he won't have the beat to engage in a fight, which will be difficult. Halfway to the Graviton Surge, which is looking good because, the game will begin now, but it's looking good because Team Praxis' new hero will now have to start from 0 on the ultimate. The Kraken has been returning to the game. Back to the Orisa, but now he's off the point. The Rampage should really be pushing in here, as they should get back ever so slightly faster than the Orisa should for Team Praxis, and if the Rampage can confirm an early kill, then things should be fine. The Rampage will be hugging that high ground, and it looks like Team Praxis has no idea until they emerge from that corridor. The bombs come out, but they cannot confirm anything yet. Derpy, 93%. Great Leap so low. If they can confirm the kill on Great Leap, things will look great for the Rampage. The beat does come out, as does the hammer from Derpy. And it looks like they will not get any kills directly, but Malorad gets a double of his own with insane amounts of assists. Sarkweek cleaning up a third, and now it's just the Fragiata sadly frozen on point. A neat-looking statue, but one that cannot sit there for much longer. With 80% on the point for Team Praxis, Team Rampage is finally able to turn this point around in their favor. Great Leap has to wait now. He's 90% of that transformation, and if he can transform into the Reinhardt, into Derpy, things can get big. Also could transform into the Andromedus, but farming that ultimate, even with the 400-something% advantage, it would be really difficult to farm that ultimate in time. Great Leap moving in very aggressively. Fragiata getting the frag on Mui, eliminating him very quickly. We're going to see the Reinhardt transformation here, I can almost guarantee it. But the Graviton Surge does come out from Andromedus. The lamp is huge. Nick takes out Taijitu in the back line, but with 2 falling on the side of the Praxis, it looks like... Oh, no, wait, the Praxis may be able to flip this in their favor, as the transformation did, in fact, come out from the Reinhardt. It did everything they needed it to do, as Andromedus is on his own in the back line. He will fall with another Shatter coming out, and Mui falling as well. The Cowboy can no longer dance to this tune. He will be forced out. 85%. The Rampage have one more really good push to get this fight in. Andromedus out of the ball this late into the game, giving up half of a Graviton Surge. Was it worth it? Most likely just to get back to his team. We do see the swap come through. He's been stunned already. 3% on its ultimate. If Malorad can get another beat, he can turn this around for his team. But the Gravitic Flux coming from Yuxel very early takes out Malorad. No, the DJ can no longer spin a tune for us, as he's been eliminated by the Graviton Surge. The Rampage are really going to have to struggle to turn this fight around, as they lose 2 on their side. Make that 3. Great Leap on the Echo, just relentlessly time and time again. Oh, it looks like Team Praxis will be able to turn this first fight around and cap the first point, putting them at an advantage here, as they're at a 1-point advantage, also a game point. Score 1-0. Maybe the Praxis just needed to get warmed up against an enemy team here, but they have shown an incredible growth over these small 5 games. They've adapted and responded accordingly. Andromedus on this ball. This is Andromedus' map. I would not be surprised if he could carry us. If he could carry us to a complete win on his own. All he has to do is get boop after boop time and time again. Looks like I'm trying to speedrun through the map, but gosh, I'm bad at this. The camera just moves so darn fast. Fragiata still on that Zen. Oh, no, excuse me. It's almost as if you heard me again. He swaps to that Baptiste. Caster's Curse, kind of. I want to see Andromedus get these boops. It's my favorite thing about playing Wrecking Ball is you can be relentless in this enemy team here. Andromedus falls underneath. Oh, I'd love to see it. You'd love to see it this early in the fight. Derpy falling, though. Sarkwick falling as well. Andromedus maybe not being with his team at the proper time. He will be able to get out of the fight, but with 2 of his teammates already dead, it's basically useless. He has to retreat. He may be able to go for the boops now, but it's going to be if he can get underneath. It looks like they're going to give Team Praxis the very early point advantage. They're going to rotate around. Andromedus should have not hesitated. He should have gone underneath and gone for those boops right then and there, even without his team. If he could boop 3 or 4 of them, he could turn the fight around. Draco high in the sky, most likely looking for a cheeky boop on an enemy. You love to see risky plays like that. High risk, high reward if he can get it. Oh, wait a minute! Andromedus gets the boop on the Kraken! Andromedus was underneath all along. He was able to confirm the kill on the main tank. He eliminates both of the tanks, and he's going to be able to flip this point around in his favor. 85%. He's going to chase down this Baptiste and this Tracer. He's not going to let them out without a fight. He's going to farm that ultimate. It's only 10% off. He can passively charge this ultimate before the enemy team can even return. An insane boop. I wasn't even ready for it. I wasn't even watching Andromedus at the right time. We see the ever so slight ultimate advantage for the Rampage. Andromedus is behind them. Wait, he's waiting. Oh, this is going to be big. If he can land this boop, it's going to be huge. Even not, he's going to do lots of damage. He comes out. Can he land it? Oh, he just gets the Baptiste. He moves 2 onto point. It looks like he will jump off the map to get that ultimate there. He does have the ultimate. We'll most likely use it to zone. Yes, as predicted, it will come out right now. While he may not be able to get a lot of boops, he can zone the enemy team. Oh, the Kraken will fall as turning gold does not prevent an explosive. Yuxel eats the pulse bomb from Mui, but it will not save his life. It looks like 2 picks from both sides. The Rampage can hold on to this point. Oh, Great Leap has finally fallen. The transformation will come through. Nick has eliminated Taijutsu with another pulse bomb. How he farmed one so fast, I'll never know. That was incredible. Derpy takes out Nick with a melee. It looks like the Rampage will be able to hold on to this point as predicted and may be able to take us to a map 3. The transformation is ready. The window is ready. The Gravitic Flux is almost ready. The Rampage have no ultimates, but their transformation almost ready on its own. Derpy most likely going to fall here. Really caught in that corner on his own. Andromedus with the double boop. He does it again, taking out both supports. An absolutely incredible play. The Wrecking Ball being an absolutely phenomenal pick here. You love to see it. Andromedus gets sucked in, but he looks like he may be able to make it out of the fight. That's his Brigida there to support him. If the Brigida can just swing, he can heal Andromedus back to full health. The transformation from Sarkwick should come out at any moment. When Sarkwick returns, he should transform most likely into the Sigma, as we've seen time and time again. Andromedus goes for the flank, almost kills himself. That could have been very bad. He goes again into the backline. Derpy's got his ultimate. Will probably pop that primal. No, Derpy falls before he can hit Q, but Sarkwick, as I said, is transforming into that Sigma. Andromedus is right behind Fragyata, and Fragyata has no idea. Andromedus comes in. It looks like he was able to eliminate Nick again. This is how many boops at this point? That's his 5th environmental boop of the game. The Rampage have taken us into overtime for our second map. Andromedus does end up killing himself, unfortunately. Movie touches the point, but will probably have to recall out of there. The mines are ready. The Rampage have to just win one more fight, and with the mines and the Primal Rage and the insane boops Andromedus has gotten up to this point, things should end in the favor here of the Rampage if they can get just 1 or 2 kills. Team Praxis really playing safely off that point, making sure that they don't get booped by Andromedus any longer. He goes for the rock. He hits it. What a read. He hits the wrong person, but he gets the read no less. Andromedus now underneath on that flank. Does he get the kill on the Orisa? Oh, the answer is yes. The Orisa wasn't ready. The Kraken wasn't ready for Andromedus. The Kraken may be big, but Andromedus' plays are bigger as he bombs the entire point. The Gravitic Flux come out. Andromedus will be picked up and will most likely die here. Yes, Andromedus will fall to the Gravitic Flux. Yuxel on the point. Derpy as well. Sarkwick as well. It looks like even though they were able to flip this into overtime, they may be able to take this point right back, right under the noses of the Rampage. Using that ultimate, they only have the nano boost left, but that's the only ultimate live at this moment, with many ultimates not far behind, but the nano boost is all we have. Can Andromedus save his team? Can he stop this game point with a single boop? The nano boost is ready, most likely going to go on to Derpy as he dives in. As a nanoed Winston, I believe, can do up to 120 damage a second over several targets. Taijutsu getting pressured here from Great Leap. Andromedus in the back line. Oh, he drops very, very low, but he is able to make it out. Unfortunate, yet another pause. It looks like we may have had a disconnect or a bathroom break. I don't know, an emergency of some sort, but we will have to wait. I no longer know what's going on, just like you guys. It looks like the pause may have had an issue. It looks like we may have seen a disconnect on the side of the Rampage. Yes, it looks like we did see one. Sarkwick did disconnect, which will cause him to lose that 53% ult advantage. Very unfortunate. but they may be able to turn this around anyway with the Pulse Bomb and the Nano Boost. And if Andromedus, again, can just get the value out of a boop, but he's so low health, things are not looking good for him here. If he can get a single boop, 2 boops with the game restarting, we're going to find out if Andromedus can carry his team to the 3rd map and try to tie this up against Team Praxis. Back to full health. He's going to go for the boop. Can he hit the Orisa again? The answer is no. He will get stuck there, though. There's the Nano Boost onto Derpy as predicted with an incredible Bio Nade as well coming from the Ana. Coming from Tajitu. That's 1 kill for Derpy. 2 have fallen from Team Praxis. It looks like this will be the fight where Derpy is able to clean up enough of Team Praxis with a triple kill where they will be able to cap the point. It is now going to be overtime for everyone involved. Team Rampage have to win this moment. It's now or never. If they lose this fight, they will end up losing the last game of the set. No, Nick falls so late, as does Great Leap, and with no supports and no pulls or boops or knockoffs, it looks like the second map will go to Team Rampage. We will go to our 3rd and final map of the evening. With only 1 map left, this really could go in anybody's favor. Again, the Rampage have already won the technical set, but because we are here to practice, we want to see, can Team Praxis clutch this final map in their grasp? Can they clutch the village in this final moment? Not surprised to see the Reinhardt coming out from Derpy, the Rein Sigma, a very common strategy with the Reaper May. This is a very close quarters map. A Symmetra may come from either team as well. The Rein Zarya, Fragyata finally on the Moira, no longer on that Zenyatta or the Baptiste, swapping into a hero that does the most healing in the game at this current moment, I believe. There's the Symmetra from Mui as predicted. We'll most likely see a teleport right from spawn out of the gate so they can get to the point much faster. Yes, it appears to be so. They will be moving underneath in order to get the team. Mui only did that for the progress of getting his team to the point faster, but was it worth it as he had to wait so long to get that teleport out? No, both teams make it to the point at the same time anyway. Maybe that teleporter strat's not quite what they thought it was on this map here. Zarkweek putting an insane amount of pressure on Yuxel. Mui cleaning up Great Leap already. This fight is already in the favor of Team Rampage, but if they can get an elimination here, which is done, Tajitu does fall with 2 falling, 3 falling on the side. Team Praxis, the supports will have to tuck their tails and run back to spawn, but Draco will not make it out alive. Neither will Nick, as Sarkweek and Mubi are relentless halfway to that Blizzard and almost halfway to that Death Blossom as well. The Shatter from Derpy already online. A lot of ultimates farmed from the Rampage, but a surprising amount farmed from Team Praxis as well. They got a lot more damage in there than I think we expected. Yuxel only 15% off that Earth Shatter. If he can land a big Earth Shatter, he can turn this fight around. Derpy is hiding for the Shatter, and I'd love to see a flank Shatter, just a huge one. But with the enemy team that far away, there's no point in hiding so far back. Derpy looking for the Shatter. You can see in his playstyle has changed. Oh, if he can kill Yuxel here, he can hit an insane Shatter. The pin does connect on Yuxel, and it looks like the Earth Shatter may come through. Yes, here it comes. Oh my goodness, a 4-man Earth Shatter with 2 already falling. Absolutely insane Shatter from Derpy, but it looks like they will not be able to clean up the Mei or the Orisa. Mui does kill Nick, and it looks like 40% is already on the point for Team Rampage. The Lighthouse and the Blizzard, the Death Blossom and the Beat as well. Team Praxis does have the ult, but Team Rampage is mere seconds from having more ultimates than them. Team Rampage really looking to bring this all home. 50% already on the point. They're really looking to bring this home and see if they can win this final map and put them at a 4-1 advantage over the Praxis. The Lighthouse is ready to come out from Tajitu, and with a point presence, he can throw that heal orb. Oh, the flank Shatter does come out from Yuxel, and the Lighthouse comes out from Tajitu as well, the Blizzard and the Beat too. Team Rampage seem to panic and just press Q in that moment as they can barely maybe clean up this point, but they use so many ultimates to do it. At this point, you have to wonder, was it worth it at all? Fragyata gets the ultimate just a second too late. He does die. Great Leap with the team kill coming through. Great Leap being the only person alive at this moment. 10% off the Blizzard, but can they even touch with 10% ticking away? The Draco, maybe the only way they're able to touch is the charge will not come through in time. No, it looks like Yuxel, if he just holds W, can push onto the point. Oh, but the wall might pressure them out. Can the wall pressure them out? The pin onto Yuxel from Derpy. Absolutely insane. 2 have fallen on the side of the Rampage. Our Team Praxis finally, this is what I call the Overwatch factor, folks. They played the game when there's no time left to do it. Mui does not pop the Death Blossom, which is probably the better call here, as Team Praxis will cap this point in their favor. The Death Blossom coming from both heroes here. We're completely ready. Derpy and Yuxel are going to finally be ready to do this. They've both got their Shatters. Both Death Blossoms are ready. Neither team has a Supercharger, neither team has a Lighthouse, and neither team has a Beat. It's really just who's got these Shatters and Death Blossoms faster. The Rampage moving underneath on the low ground, but the Praxis are ready to meet them. Great Leap looking for that underneath flank. Hopefully neither Rein here biffs their Shatter. Let's see if we can get a Shatter from either Reinhardt here. The Mei putting a lot of pressure on Derpy. The Death Blossom comes from Nick, cleaning up 2. This fight's already lost for the Rampage. What are they going to do? The Death Blossom came out from Draco, but it wasn't big enough. Wait, no, it's now a 4v4. A 3. Oh, the Derpy's Shatter got walled up by Great Leap. Whether or not that was intentional, it was an incredible use of the wall to lift him into the air to avoid that Shatter. But it looks like the Rampage should turn around what should have been a lost fight with overtime ticking down. Yuxel only 200 health, no supports. Can he touch the point in time? Yes, he is able to turn the point in time, but Yuxel and Nick both fall, and nobody will be able to hold on to this point for much longer. It looks like the Rampage will finally be able to cap this point, and the Rampage will win over Team Praxis in a 4v1 final score. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. We love to have you. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great time. Go Rampage.